Hi there, Steph. Thanks for popping by. So today is another card using the Mama Elephant stamp set called Reindeer Game. You've seen quite a few of these cards probably by now, and I just really like that stamp set, and I wanted to show you how many different things you can do with one stamp set. And you sometimes like think, oof, what am I going to do after that card? And you can actually do loads. You can do some stamping with some masking. In that case, which is quite rare, I have the sets of dies that go with the stamps, so I managed to cut the images and create a background, create a scene, and you can use a layout and then repeat that layout on different cards and do some mass production, or you can just do one card, it's just another type of card, and so on. So with this card, I stamped the images with some Memento Tuxedo Black on some Nina Solar White card. It's a small piece of A6, and I just started with the coloring. I used two different shades of brown and one sand color for the top part of the face and the body. And then I used lighter colors. I don't have the exact number in mind, but one light color and sand for the jaw part, and then something even lighter for the little antlers. I've also added a bit of red to the little bells, I would say they are, around their necks. And I used 3 different colors, but you can probably stick to 2 because it would be plenty. My color scheme was obviously quite a lot of red because of the Christmas and the greens. So I kept these 3 different red colors for the presents. And I just added a little bit of shading just under the lid, basically. So it just looks like the lid overhangs a little bit. It just gives a little bit more dimension, basically. And I use a darker color for the middle of the present, and that represents the ribbon. And it's quite funny because I don't really use the dies that much, and when I do, I tend to fussy cut, but I really do like die cutting here. It was quite pleasant, and it's quite straightforward because there's so many dies coming with the set that I didn't have to die cut for very long, so that was quite nice. Then for the Christmas trees, I used 3 different greens to kind of proper green, and the third one is a bit more, I like to say there's a hint of citrus in there. It's a bit more yellowy, and I think it's quite a nice color combo. So here I place all the dies, and I put a little bit of painter's tape on it. I tend to put painter's tape on my trousers and take it off so that it's not quite as sticky, but it's when you remove it, you have to remove it quite gently just to make sure that you don't peel off your image with it. That would be a shame to have spent all that time coloring to just peel it off really. So once I'm done with placing the little dies, I'm gonna die cut off camera, and then I will prepare my layout. So, oh no, sorry. One step back, I moved a bit ahead of myself here. I prepared the heel. So for the heel, I used a piece of Nina Solar White, and I used some Perfect Pearl that I applied with a piece of cloth. It worked okay, but I don't think you can see it that much, and if I was to redo it, I'd probably skip that step, to be quite honest. You can do it if you want, but it's not a necessary step for me because it's so subtle. Then I stamped my greeting, all in French, because I know more French people than English people, so I have more cards to send now. And then I added a little layer of black fun foam because that's what I had. And because it's behind, you can't actually see it, so I don't mind the fact that it's black. It would work perfectly well with white as well, obviously, but use what you have if you can find a way to do so, rather than just ordering the supplies. I used a piece of, I think it's called Coordination, and it's some sort of satin shimmery paper, and I can't remember the exact name of it. And I use that as a background, sorry, so it's kind of like, night sky, but with a bit of shimmer, so it reminds me of the snow and everything Christmassy and shimmery, basically. So I prepared my layout beforehand, and I took a photo of it. That's why you can see my phone at the top of the screen, because I had to remove everything, obviously, to glue the heel, and then I would not remember how I placed everything beforehand. So I placed my layout, took a photo, cleared everything, glued my heels, and then placed all my tiny images one by one. Yeah, he had it's kind of a little thing that you tend to forget, the tiny little piece of ribbon that go on the top of the present, so you'd add at the end. So I try to kind of keep everything in one corner on my desk so I don't lose anything, but you know, things happen. I use some matte multimedium to glue the ribbon as well, not dry glue, so I had to wait for a little bit for it to dry, but it's pretty quick, so that's actually quite good. And I use some Sakura white jelly pen to do the accents on the presents and the little noses, and then I use a Sakura black glaze pen. I have to pronounce it really slowly to make sure I get it right, and it adds that little bit of dimension and shiny, a bit like glossy accents, but it's much flatter. You don't get the raise effect you get with glossy accent, which is why I also use glossy accent for the little noses, because I love glossy accent. You must know that by now. So here we go. I mean, it's a pretty simple scene. You know, I used, oh sorry, I forgot to mention, the heel dies is from Lala Landcraft or something like that, and it's stitch as well, so I think it's quite nice. Then I used my Copic markers to add a little bit of shading onto the word. And it's not much, it's just, I think it would be C3, C1. I'm not even sure I use a number 0 to blend it. I think it's really small, it's subtle, but it adds a little something. As always, I do like my little bit of shading. Then I must apologize for the last bit of the recording. I placed a white piece of paper under my card to make sure that it wouldn't get dirty with all the perfect pearls that splattered around, and my camera seems to have gotten really confused, so the recording is a bit odd, but you can basically see me glue the panel onto my card front and retrace the Joyeux Noël with the Sakura glaze, black glaze gel pen. Is it glaze? Is it gel? Anyway, you know which pen I'm talking about, the one that has that little raise shiny effect, and it's quite nice. And a bit later I will use my trimmer and cut it off camera, so you will see the final card just in a moment. So I hope you find it interesting. Thank you very much for watching. If you want to check out the photos, please head over to my blog, and don't hesitate to subscribe for new videos. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye!